Now, more stories, insights, and analysis of Illinois policy and politics. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute. Once again, your host, AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with John Tillman, President and CEO of the Illinois Policy Institute, on this edition of Illinois Rising. And John, congratulations are in order. We've talked about this issue on this show for a number of weeks. The food cart issue in the city of Chicago finally came to a city council vote this last week, and victory is yours. Illinois Policy Institute has been leading the charge.
Our team, Hillary Gowans, Ryan Green, Austin Berg, a number of others, were really instrumental in conceiving this effort, putting together a little bit of a story about it, particularly a woman named Claudia, who's one of our heroes. And then I want to say thank you to the alderman who's on with us now, Alderman Maldonado, who really led on this. And in the beginning, it didn't look like it ended up being unanimous, because once you start creating a wave, people get on board. But Alderman Maldonado was very courageous in getting out front on this. And thank you for that, Alderman.
Thank you, Don. Good morning.
Why was this issue, speaking with Alderman Roberto Maldonado, is the chief sponsor of the bill, as John mentioned. So, Alderman Maldonado, why was this issue of enfranchising food cart entrepreneurs so important to you?
Well, I have seen, I'm a regular consumer of these food vendors. Almost every Sunday I buy a tamal or an elote when I leave.
I love elotes.
When we leave church. And my kids, are crazy about this food as well. And so this is a type of entrepreneurial activity that has been in existence way before brick-and-mortar restaurants came into play, and the more fashionable food trucks more recently also came into play. And so I think it was just time for them to become legalized. And not only that, I mean, they were asking and imploring to be regulated so that they will become legal businesses, and also to contribute to the local economy of the city of Chicago.
Yeah, I think this is just a great combination of things coming together. People who want to provide for themselves, earn their own living, not be on the government taxpayer dollar. Happy to get up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning, serve people well by making tasty food. They want to pay their taxes. They want to have, obviously, clean food carts and all the rest of it. And for decades, the city wouldn't do it. And what I'm just so excited about is that it's going to change the lives of people who have been working in the shadows, wondering if the police were going to come by, and was it going to be a friendly cop who buys it, or is it going to be the unfriendly cop who throws the food away and tells you to stop doing that? It brings them out of the darkness and into the light, and it really is just a great example of how we can help people provide for themselves and the dignity of life, really, providing for your own family.
Yes, that is absolutely correct, and the willingness by this entrepreneurial class to be active participants in our economy by doing the right thing, live by allowing to be, wanting to be regulated, so that they can provide, healthy or healthy-related foods in the sense of providing in accordance to public health standards, and also contribute to the tax base of the city of Chicago. In fact, it is estimated that just by with 5% of the gross sales that has been estimated, the city stands to collect in sales taxes about $8.5 million, just with 5% of the gross sales of this entrepreneurial class. So that is amazing, and it is aimed to create an additional 6,000 jobs in the city of Chicago. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for these entrepreneurs, and it is a win-win for the city of Chicago and for the consumers as well.
6,000 jobs, that's a big number. And as I understand, and either one, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of these entrepreneurs we're talking about are Latinos.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say I have never met any food vendor that is not Hispanic. I'm not saying that there are some out there, but also this will create an opportunity for other vendors that would like to get into this type of businesses to also do so. I mean, I have heard that there are people who are ready to start selling on bikes, coffee, And so this is done in other jurisdictions, and they want to bring that here. And Alderman Mitt, the chairman of the license committee, told me that she already had heard some of his African American constituents that they want to get into this kind of business as well.
And frankly, with the way Jeff Smarja pitched for the White Sox this year, he may have to take the Elodie stand out of the cell, and he may have to go run a food cart himself.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, hopefully you'll comment on this question, Alderman. When we first started this process, there was quite a bit of resistance, and it took a while to build momentum and support for this. Where did that resistance come from? Why? This seems like such a common sense reform. Set people free to serve others well and make a living for themselves. Why do you think initially it was a problem?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I introduced the ordinance last year before the last term ended, I heard, I had some pushback, primarily from some of the Latino aldermen from the South Side, and I was surprised about that. But then when I reintroduced it now in the new term back in May, I didn't get any pushback whatsoever. And the fact, that it was approved unanimously, I think that we were past due to adopt this ordinance. Even for the mayor of the city of Chicago, he pulled me up to the dais yesterday, and he told me that was a very important piece of legislation for him, that it was very much, and I have to give him credit because the administration helped us draft a very, very good ordinance, from the original ordinance that we introduced, where all parties could be in agreement.
Ultimately, logic won the day, and a good thing for it. Alderman Roberto Maldonado, congratulations. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.